Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. We are in chapter 3 and we will get started in just a minute. So let's get started with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share the screen. Okay. Just 1 second. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। Okay, so we are going to start with chapter 3. We are going to start with chapter 3. Okay, now I'm just thinking we need to set up a mechanism just in case if I go offline, somebody should tell me. How will somebody tell me? Well, okay, some of you should keep your video on. So I think Ashish Vyas Prabhu and Shalu Mataji, is that going to be okay? And okay, great. And try to keep moving a little bit, okay? Swing. So, or yeah. Anyway, some way. So I know that the internet is not. Okay. Oh, I didn't send a message. I can text you. Yeah, but I don't want to keep looking at my text.
Maybe you can call me.
It's okay.
Have your attention.
Yeah. Okay. I hope it will all work out. I'm still audible. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ashish Vyas Prabhu. Your visual prompts are good. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I hope you can see the screen sharing. Yes? Okay, great. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So my goal is to, let's see, to complete chapter 3, if not most of it. So let's see how far we get. So chapter 3 now, we will do a very quick review as part of this in chapter 2, but let's do chapter 3. 1 second. So chapter 2. So Arjuna had some serious doubts about the fighting the war, and chapter 2 was more or less the summary of the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna's standpoint for all of us. But also for Arjun, he's all the time in a mood of deciding whether to fight or to not fight. So what are the options for Arjuna as far as chapter 2 were concerned? So if you carefully read chapter 2 and if you read it like a couple of times and you really understand what the mood is and what essentially the meaning of each section is, you will find two main sort of themes coming out in different places of the Bhagavad Gita of chapter 2. That's why I have put the verse numbers from 2.11 to 2.72, which is pretty much all of chapter 2. So in one case, Arjuna is getting the feeling that he should, or getting the understanding that he should fight the battle. If you remember, there is the section from 2.30 to 2.38, where Lord Krishna is directly saying that you should fight for the establishment of dharma. That is his duty towards the society and his personal duty as a kshatriya to uphold dharma. So both of those things, given both of those things, he should definitely fight the war. Secondly, he is saying that we are all spirit souls. The soul never dies and nobody can kill the soul, and the soul cannot be killed, etc. It's only the body that dies. So in a certain way, Lord Krishna is saying that even if you fight the war, there is really no killing of the soul that will occur. And another major point that is made is that you should do your duty. What you shouldn't do is be attached to the results of the action. So he is encouraging Arjuna to fight the war in a detached way. So all these points are coming out. Now I'm giving a sort of a overall sense from chapter 2. On the other hand, Arjuna is getting the message that one of the messages that he got is that Krishna Bhakti is the highest, 2.61. Very important verse. So doing taking the shelter of Krishna, being mat paraha, or being sheltered under Krishna, taking the submission or surrendering to Krishna is the highest. Though bhakti has not been used, but that is taking shelter of Krishna. Also, Lord Krishna is saying, know when to restrain the senses, staying equipoised in all material situations. Equipoised means, so if something is going well, obviously the war would not occur if everything is going well. So, similarly, when things are not going well, when the Kauravas are being malicious and are trying to harm the Pandavas, even then the war should not happen. That's the meaning of equipoised. So being equipoised in all material situations, this has been a very major theme of chapter 2. Staying detached from all sense objects, that's another major theme. And Buddhi Yoga and eternal peace. Toward Buddhi Yoga has been introduced in chapter 2 and eternal peace towards the end. So all these things are providing a mixed message to Arjuna as to what really to do. Now, from our standpoint, when we are understanding Bhagavad Gita, due to the help of the purports of Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas, the way each verse has been presented, we get a clear understanding that Arjuna should fight. Each of the points of do not fight, we understand clearly that actually they mean that Arjuna should fight. Let me explain how. Krishna Bhakti is highest. What is Krishna Bhakti? Essentially, Krishna Bhakti is doing things that make Krishna happy. That is Krishna Bhakti, or doing things for Krishna's happiness or for Krishna. Krishna wants the war to occur for whatever reason, essentially for re-establishing yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata and paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So to establish dharma, to kill the rakshasas or demoniac people, Lord Krishna wants this to occur. That is Krishna Bhakti, to follow Krishna's instructions. So to fight the war is to follow Krishna's instructions. Know when to restrain the senses, and also it means knowing when to use the senses. So, or the sense organs like your hands and legs, the karmendriyas. So when Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you must fight, he's asking Arjuna to use his sense organs. Staying equipoised in all material situations means that even in war, while fighting the war, staying completely equipoised, completely calm and peaceful, and fighting the war in that sense. In chapter 8, there is a very important verse, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha, that always in all situations remember me and fight the war. That is the meaning of staying equipoised, always remembering Krishna. Okay? So there's another verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, similar, Tasmat, it's not Sarveshu Kal, Tasmat, something, Sarveshu Kaleshu, Manah Krishna Niveshayet. Yeah, Tasmat Kenapi Upayena Manah Krishna Niveshayet. That through somehow or the other, always invest your mind in thinking of Krishna. So whether you're fighting the war or you're sitting inside a cave, staying equipoised means always thinking of Krishna. Staying detached from all sense objects. Also, you can fight the war or do anything, but be detached from the sense objects. So fighting with complete absorption in the Lord, doing whatever activity with complete absorption in the Lord. So, and that is Buddhi Yoga, and provides eternal peace and liberation and attainment of Krishna, everything. So from the purports and the commentaries, we understand that there is no problem in fighting if that is what Krishna wants. But if you just read the verses, then you get the sense that there is a mixed message. That is the point. And that leads to the beginning of chapter 3, where Arjuna starts by asking a question in two verses, 3.1 and 3.2. So Arjuna says, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So the two words that are used here are, so he says that, जयायसी चेत कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर जनार्दन तत् किम कर्माणि घोरम माम नियोजयसी केशव. So buddhi yoga and karma yoga, these are the two terms that he is using, but essentially he is saying that so he's using the terms buddhi yoga to indicate that one should be completely absorbed in Krishna. That is the do not fight aspect. And karma yoga, which means to fight but without material considerations. And that is karma yoga. But essentially, I explained how Arjuna is getting a mixed message. Another important point to understand from these two verses, so that was the first one, and the second one is, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Vyamishrena iva vakyena. So he's, in a sense, just imagine the position of Arjuna in chapter 2, how he was completely helpless. And now he is calling Arjuna Vyamishrena iva vakyena. His vakya, his words, he's calling them, they're not very clear. You need to be more clear for me to understand. Tad ekam vada nishchitya. Please tell me, nishchitya means very clearly, yena shreyo aham apnuyam. That what is shreya, what is best for me, what will lead to my maximum benefit, or what is in my benefit. So he's asking very directly that what you are telling me is not clear. Please tell me what to do. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. So, one should try to understand spiritual topics like this. One should not take anything on blind faith. One should ask hard questions, obviously to a good teacher who can answer such questions to the satisfaction, but one should also not generally argue and prolong the discussion. That also is part of this. But one should never accept anything blindly. One should get it very clear in their understanding regarding spiritual questions. Because that is when doubts are cleared, and doubts are the biggest impediment in our spiritual progress. And we get completely convinced that yes, this is really important for me. Or one may think that spiritual progress is important for me, but in what way? So the conviction in the process, that is called shraddha, comes through that way. So hearing from sadhus is very important. That is why Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu also says, before the shraddha step, we know the 9 steps of bhakti: shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti, nishtha, and so on. Before the initial shraddha comes first level of sadhu sangha, and in that sadhu sangha, shravana happens, hearing happens. And that is the phase in which this question answer also happens. And doubts are cleared and conviction is generated. Strong conviction. Like if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't know, for some reason I have very deep regard for Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the most fundamental Vaishnava text. And I hope many of you also have complete regard and complete faith in Srimad Bhagavatam, or like, and if you read the sixth canto, first three chapters of Ajamila, the kind of conviction that one gets about the power of the holy name, how strong is the holy name, how important it is for one's spiritual progress. I think that those three chapters provided me the maximum conviction on the fact that we should take the holy name. Please read every verse of that chapter very detailed way, not just the Ajamil story. Oh, he took the name of his son Narayana, the Yamadutas came, Vishnu Dutas came, they had a discussion, and then somehow he was saved. The discussion that happens between the Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas is so beautiful. And the Yamadutas go back completely confused and defeated, and the discussion they have with Yamraj, when Yamraj also explains the power of the name of so important, that had been the most important section of any reading for me personally to generate complete faith in the power of the holy name. So in that way, one has to keep searching, one has to keep asking hard questions and developing that conviction. And Arjuna is doing that. So this is a very important step in the process of spiritual progress. Hey, it's okay. I'm fine. Okay. So now Lord Krishna starts answering. Yes, Shrikar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you mentioned a point. I'm not sure if this is a very important question. Oftentimes we hear like um, between shraddha and sadhu sangha, which one comes first? But practically, it seems like a very chicken and egg type of situation. Like one doesn't happen without the other. So, do you know of any place in Shastra where it talks about? Because it doesn't make sense to me that we get shraddha without some form of sadhu sangha. It always feels like the reverse for
Yeah,
me.
you can read the commentary of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Eastern, please note this down carefully.
Yeah.
I am obviously no Hari Parshad, but I am telling you the numbers. You can look it up. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Eastern Division.
Yeah.
So 1.4.15 and 16. Those 15 and 16. So 4 means the Prema Bhakti section. The fourth wave, Chaturth Lahari, it is called, fourth wave, which is Prema Bhakti. 15, 16 are those verses, Adau, Shraddha, Tatha, Sadhu, Sangha, and so on. Read the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on that. All right. There he clearly says that before the initial, so that's Shraddha and then Sadhu Sangha that is mentioned, that is second Sadhu Sangha, where one learns the process of performing bhakti, of bhajan kriya. But that Shraddha comes by the first Sadhu Sangha, which is not mentioned by Sri Rupa Goswami. Vishwanath Chakravarti is adding that. That is the zero step, step zero, you can say.
Yeah.
And then through that initial Sadhu Sangha, one develops the faith. So, and how that initial Sadhu Sangha one gets, you can ask that is also coming by Shraddha. Otherwise, without Shraddha, why will I go take Sadhu Sangha? So yes, there is Shraddha, but there is previous sukriti. There is some previous blessing that one has received, and there is no explanation for that, but there is, due to some previous blessing, one comes in contact with devotees, with sadhu, and one gets the impetus, one gets the inspiration to just associate with them. One can always get up and go. That would be a misfortune of a person, but just to stay and continue to listen. So that happens due to some previous sukriti,
That
some
previous
previous blessing.
sukriti, quick follow-up,
Devotees.
uh, that previous sukriti, we can just say, we can just attribute it to the mercy of devotees in Krishna, right?
Yes. And therefore, devotees go around, even if the recipient is not very favorable, at least everybody should be nice to devotees, and they can get the blessings of devotees. If not in this life, then in next life, that step 0 will begin. Okay?
Right. Thank you so much
Okay.
for amazing answer. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Okay, you can lower your hand. I got it. All right. We are making slow progress as per my expectations, so let's speed up. Third verse. Lord Krishna agrees. So, Lord Krishna says that, yes, that he has spoken elements of 2 different philosophies. Okay? He says in the 3rd and 4th lines, Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. So he says that, yes, I have spoken about 2 things. The translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada is equating Nishkama Karma Yoga to devotional service, which is correct. Though there is a slight twist, which you all know, that it's not just Nishkama Karma Yoga, it is offering the results to Krishna. I had explained this example of the wallet, finding the wallet on the street, I think last time. The Nishkama Karma Yoga would simply mean, oh, you find a wallet, but you leave it there. You're not attached to the result, which means taking away the money. But what the devotee does, bhakti, means go and actually return it to the original owner. So basically serving the original owner, which is Sri Krishna. Isha Vashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. That's the first verse of Ishopanishad, where the Lord says, Ishopanishad is part of the Yajurveda. And here and there it is written that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Isha Vashyam idam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Everything in the world is belonging to the Supreme Lord. So we go and serve the Supreme Lord because we are using the resources provided by the Supreme Lord. Okay. So that is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Srila Prabhupada is extending that to Bhakti. And there is philosophical speculation or Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. That is the other method. So, and also Lord Krishna hinted on Bhakti, but that was just a small hint. It was not a very direct point on Bhakti. So it's Arjuna, Lord Krishna is not really getting into fight versus not fight, but he is saying that, yes, I provided elements of both philosophies in chapter 2. And Arjuna is already familiar with these philosophies. The moment you hear some key words, you understand which philosophy is being discussed. So Jnana Yogis, when he heard the Sankhya or the Jnana section of chapter 2, which is the science of the soul, He knows that such Jnana yogis abstain from all action whatsoever. Jnana yogis means you sit under a tree or in a cave and you meditate. Not exactly dhyana, but you meditate on the Sankhya aspect. You meditate on the soul, or you meditate on the Vedas. And Nishkama Karma Yogis perform action, but they are completely detached from the results. So Arjuna is drawing this conclusion. And here's the sort of the reconciliation between Arjuna's doubt of fight or not fight. And Lord Krishna is saying Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. So Jnana Yoga means abstain from all action, do not fight. Nishkama Karma Yoga means perform action but with detachment, which means to fight, as at least as far as performing the action is concerned. It's okay that we have to be detached from the results, but we still have to perform the action. So that is the equation or the equating that occurs between Arjuna's doubt of fight versus not fight versus this Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. That Lord Krishna is acknowledging or recognizing that he has provided both messages in chapter 2. So now the next 3 chapters will be a sort of a explanation of both of these philosophies and reconciliation, and that will go on till chapter 5. And at the end of chapter 5, Lord Krishna will once again tell that bhakti of Bhagavan is the highest. So the last verses of chapter 5 and a similar theme in chapter 6, last verses of both are very important. Both are to be memorized for Bhakti Shastri. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim rachati. So, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam. All these 3 things, gyatva mam, who knows that I am all these 3 things, attains the highest peace or attains moksha. So that is essentially a verse of Bhakti. So that is the final reconciliation that will occur in the end of chapter 5. So, yeah, okay. So now Lord Krishna begins to describe the analysis of these 2 paths. So he agrees that, yes, I have spoken both philosophies, but here is how one should reconcile the 2. So now the majority of the chapter is about reconciliation of these 2 philosophies. And please try to understand, there are some very important practical instructions as we go along. So you can pay very careful attention to the practical instructions. So we will cover this. I have broken this down into 2 parts. The first, the sort of the essential concept. So the first part is that giving up activity is not practical. Lord Krishna says in 3.4, not merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So giving up activity is not practical. It does not lead to spiritual progress. In the next verse, 3.5, Lord Krishna says that as long as you are in the material world, giving up activity is not even possible. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. So if you are born in the gunas, which means if you are present in the material world, where the material gunas of sattva, rajas, and tamas are present, these are the 3 modes or the 3 gunas, then therefore no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. If at all you are breathing, now one can say, even I will stop breathing. Even your existence, the fact that you exist, the fact that you are alive is also an activity. Most of us cannot even reach that level. At least you are breathing. And for most of us, we are doing a lot of activity. So Lord Krishna is saying that giving up activity is not an option at all. And then he begins to differentiate between a beginner and an advanced person. For a beginner, giving up the results of an activity is also not practical. When we are doing some activities, we would like the results. And it is not about expecting some results for sense gratification. Just simple results, like if you cook some food, you expect the result that the food will be cooked so that you can eat. So there is some minimal expectation. If you are taking care of your child, you expect the child makes good growth. So there is some expectation, some attachment to the results at a beginner level. Lord Krishna will explain at an advanced level as well. But for a beginner, giving up the results of the activity is not practical either. Let's see the next verse as to why. So, even though externally one may think that it's possible to give up the results, it is really not possible. Why? An advanced looking person, advanced looking means one who pretends to be or who looks advanced, externally he may give up activities. So Lord Krishna says there, karma indriyani sanyamya ya aste manasasmaran. Manasasmaran. Karmendriyani. So sanyamya, that he is sanyam, he is very controlled as far as his karmendriya, his external activities are concerned. He is very controlled. Ya aste manasa, but in his mind he is still thinking about it. Manasa smaran. Somebody may think, oh, I am fasting. Yes, I am fasting. No problem. I'm easily fasting. I can fast Nirjal today. No problem at all. I'm just absorbed in Krishna. But in the mind, one is thinking, when will the tarpana happen? When will I break the fast and eat all the nice things? So that's a simple example. But there are more severe, more serious examples that one can come up with. And you know about it, all about it. We all do that. Lord Krishna is saying, Indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyachara sa uchyate. Such a person is called a mithyacharaha or a mithyachari. You're a pretender. So we are all small pretenders at our level, but having recognized that we are doing this, the instruction is to give it up. Okay? Or at least not try to portray ourselves as advanced. We don't have to go around advertising our shortcomings. See, I'm the most fallen, I'm the most fallen. We don't have to go around and be in this childish way, but at least we should not say that we are advanced. Oh, I'm fasting and I have no problem at all. If you have a problem, you can stay quiet. You don't have to advertise how great of a saint or a yogi you are, where you have no problem doing Nirjal, Ekadashi or Upavas. So what Lord Krishna means to say, which he will say later, or in the 7th verse, on the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the senses, the active senses by the mind, and begins Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness, in brackets, without attachment, he is by far superior. So, beginning to regulate or control his senses, that is, there's a key word there, that niyamya arabhate Arjuna. So, yastva indriyani manasa niyamya arabhate Arjuna. So, in Hindi, there is a word arambha. Arambha means to begin. So, similar word is used here. Niyamya arabhate Arjuna. One who begins to niyamya, to niyam, to bring some control to the senses, indriyani, manasa, including the mind or with the help of controlling the mind, by controlling the mind. One who is making an attempt to begin to control the senses, arambhate. Asaktaha sa vishishyate. Vishishyate means is better. So such a person is better than a pretender. So better to be. So here is the main message, very important message. Many people come to me for asking some questions or some guidance. Prabhuji, what should I do? This, that, and all that. I use this verse that's why I'm saying it's very practical, because anything I use to tell people how to resolve some questions, practical issues in their life, if some verse is being used, it means it has a lot of practical application. So I'm telling you from my experience, this verse is very, very practically important. Do not try to be someone you are not. Genuine and honest approach is far better than that. Okay. So some people will, just try to do some things, and soon they will realize it is out of their capacity. But now other people are seeing that they are doing it, and how can I go back? Somebody, I'll ask, give a small example. Somebody wanted to, buy the purest milk, because all this, first of all, non-organic milk, then you have organic milk. Just because there is a symbol organic doesn't mean it is all. The cows have been protected. The cows are, there has been no cruelty. Then there is ahimsa milk, and all those things are there. I said the final solution is to have your own cow in your own backyard. Okay. Even if somebody is selling ahimsa milk, how do you know what is the definition of ahimsa and all that? So somebody goes and, wants to buy a cow and put it in the backyard. And 1 week later they realize, oh my God, this is not for me. I was so happy getting organic milk from the store. That is my level. I cannot maintain a cow in my backyard. But now you are doing it because what will other people say? So, and in the same way for many other things, like Nirjal Ekadashi. Now I get a lot of problem when I do Nirjal Ekadashi. I get migraine, I get this, I that, all those things. So whoever, I don't go on advertising. Now you may think in the class I am telling, but I cannot do Nirjal Ekadashi. So I do minor level Ekadashi on Nirjal Ekadashi, because otherwise my whole week will get messed up. Unfortunately, I cannot do. Earlier I used to do, but not anymore. So the message is, do not try to be someone you are not. It does not mean that higher level is not better. Higher level is definitely better, but not for the sake of showing off or to be a pretender. Genuinely, if you can do it, great. That is best. But as we will see, the highest is to do Krishna Bhakti. So on Nirjal Ekadashi day, eat some fruit. I eat some fruit and some milk, and I try to do good Shravan and Kirtan. For me, I have understood that that is a much better approach than to have migraine and acidity and all those things. And where is Krishna in the picture? Long forgotten. What is the point of that? Okay. All right. But if you can do, that is great. It's not like everybody should come down to my level. Okay. Yes, Pradeep ji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nitika.
My question is about building karma. If somebody has something in his mind that he's pretending, so would that build karma for that person,
Hmm.
or would it
Hmm.
not?
Very good question. So, in Kaliyuga, it does not. This is another special characteristic of Kaliyuga. Any activity done through the mind in other yugas, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, also results in building up of karma. This comes where? This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, I do not, it is maybe somebody can look up, Canto 1, chapter 16 or 17, verse number 8, I think. One of those two verses. Okay. I think. But anyway, it is in chapter 16 or 17 where Parikshit Maharaj meets Kali, the personality of Kaliyuga. And the conversation happens, and Maharaj Parikshit realizes one of the good qualities of Kaliyuga, because Kaliyuga is bad in so many ways. But at least one of the good qualities of Kaliyuga is that by thinking of bad things, you do not get the reaction. That is a discount you get in Kaliyuga. Okay?
So
That's a
that's
discount.
the activity that would
But
count.
but if you think of good things, so this is special discount. It's not like mind is completely out of the equation. In your mind, if you think good things, like if you, let us say, give charity mentally to somebody, you get the benefit of that. So good things, if you at least do mentally, you get some benefit. Bad things, if you do mentally, but you don't actually do it, you don't get any sinful reaction. Let us say you get very angry on somebody and you mentally think, I will hit him, you abuse them, you curse them. No sin incurred. Special mercy, special blessing of Kali Yuga. Because our minds are so uncontrolled, all the time we are thinking of bad things towards others. If that all starts incurring sin, we will be in deep, deep trouble. So that whole thing has been removed. And it
Is it
is so hard to do good things mentally. That is why even if you do little bit good mentally, you get the benefit. See, Kali Yuga is uh, so nice. Okay.
is it because like all the people are kind of it's expected that most of the people will think bad in Kaliyug?
Yes. Yes. Kali Yuga is like the maximum security prison, so to say, situation. All the hardened criminals have been born in Kali Yuga. All the serial killers and everybody has been brought together in one place by the arrangement of the Lord. Others have made progress to higher levels, but all the hardened criminals, unfortunately, whoever is left over is in Kali Yuga. Okay.
So does Bhagavad Gita also mention the same, or is it in Bhagavatam that states this fact?
No, I cannot recall Bhagavad Gita verse
Okay.
specifically mentioning this, but Bhagavatam is no different. Bhagavatam is as strong a praman as Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Anybody was able to find that verse?
Seventh shloka of 18th chapter in the first canto, Prabhuji.
18th chapter 7. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
it.
it wrong. So 1.18.7. All right. Can you read out the translation, please, Prasun Prabhu? English translation.
Ji, Prabhuji, just one second. Maharaja Parikshit was a realist, like the bees who only accept the essence. He knew perfectly well that in this age of Kali, auspicious things produce good effects immediately, whereas inauspicious acts must be actually performed to render effects. So he was never envious of the personality of Kali.
So bad things have to be actually performed, whereas the good things render benefit even mentally. So you can see there, that's the meaning of the verse.
Thank you.
Yes, Raj Vidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, when we say do not try to be someone you are not, we're talking about a spiritual identity or material identity.
Material identity.
Okay. Spiritual identity, I mean, we cannot pretend, or a lot of people try to pretend different spiritual.
Yeah, this is at the beginning stages. Yes, this is for beginning stages. Nobody even knows what is their spiritual identity or the fact that they have a spiritual identity, let alone identifying it. That comes in very advanced stages. We will talk about it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Siddha Deha, and all that. But one has no idea of what is one's spiritual identity. At best, Bhagavad Gita also does not talk about it. All it talks about it is you have a spiritual identity. That's it. There it ends. How to identify that spiritual identity comes through very deep process of sadhana, of sadhan bhakti. And that will be covered in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Nectar of Devotion. All right. Does that answer you? So here we talk about material identity. Like at a material level, I gave example, I cannot tolerate not even drinking a drop of water whole day. I will immediately get migraine. So not drinking water, getting migraine is what? Spiritual or material?
Material, of course. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So I cannot do Nirjal Ekadashi. That is my inability at a material level. My spiritual identity, let us say, I don't know, I am a dog in the spiritual world. Dogs in spiritual world can easily do Nirjal Ekadashi, no problem. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ram Prabhu.
Namaste, Guruji. So, in the last week or prior to that, you said intentions matter. Intentions are important and they build up karma, right? I thought I captured it that way. Is that not true with the Kaliyuga based on what you answered to the prior?
I cannot recall what I said, or maybe you are, interpreting it a little differently. If you can send me the timestamp exactly, I can go and review the lecture. But definitely what I said today is 100% accurate. What I might have meant is intentions. I did not say intentions build up karma. I probably did not say that. If I actually said it, they don't build up karma. Intentions lead to performing actions. Intention and inspiration is what is needed ultimately as a source for action. Nobody does any action without any intention or without inspiration. And that leads to either pious karma or sinful karma. So it is the source, but the intention itself or the thought itself, bad thought, good thought, like we just said from Srimad Bhagavad, does build good karma. Bad thought does not build sinful karma.
Okay. Thank
you. Okay. Next. So we completed 3.7. So the first level is, the first part of understanding is don't pretend. Don't be a pretender. Be genuine and honest. The second part is Lord Krishna will say, okay, then what to do? This is the second part of Karma Yoga. First part of Karma Yoga is to be genuine. And second part of, or second concept of Karma Yoga is broken up into two levels, beginner and advanced. So at beginner level, advanced level will come later. Beginner level, perform your material duties, but in the mood of sacrifice or yajna. Okay. So this is an important point to understand. We consider activities that produce results, duties. You go work in some company or in some place, or if you are a self-employed person. You perform, you do your business with great commitment, and it produces results. That is your yajna. You will say, my yajna is to do my job very nicely with full commitment. So taking the example of, let's say if one wants to produce good food grains, one can just do good farming. But according to Vedic principles, if you don't do it with severe practice of yajna, then the grain may not even occur, the crop may not be successful, it may not even occur, let alone be successful. But if you do it with strong yajnas, there will be wonderful rainfall, the soil will have a lot of richness, the crop will be very sweet, very abundant. So according to the Vedic principles, just doing the act of sowing the seeds and tilling the land becomes like a very minor fraction of the overall activity. There used to be very severe yajnas, very intense yajnas that were done, and that was the majority of the activity, and then one would get very, very abundant, sweet, successful crops. Just as an example of an activity that one does for sustaining himself or herself. So that is what is mentioned by performing activities as yajna. So nowadays, that whole concept is gone. Who will think of doing some kind of yajna for the material results? But if you, and there are some, even I have seen some videos where some brahmanas who have been raised, it's not just brahman by birth, who have been raised and brought up, and their activities are all brahminical. Plus, they know all the Vedic mantras and the whole process perfectly. And they get together and chant those mantras with a pure mind, with a pure heart. They chant those Vedic mantras and rain occurs. Immediately rainfall occurs. Tremendous rainfall occurs. You may think it is magic, but that is the power of the teachings of the Vedas. So of course, it includes a very strong following of lifestyle by those brahmanas and the performance of the yajnas, fire sacrifices, the homas and all, chanting of the mantras done in a pure way. Now, who can do it today in Kaliyuga? It is unheard of, but that doesn't mean that the science is wrong. So when they do that, the results occur. In the modern world, you can equate it to doing your work in a nice way, in a very committed, dedicated way, working hard, and it produces results. We all know that. So you can say that at your level, it is to do your duty with full commitment and dedication. Okay, so but here the beginner level solution itself is very advanced for most of us. But the beginner level solution is given in 3.8. Perform your prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo here akarmanaha. So don't do your duty. Do your duty properly. And nobody can sustain themselves. Sharira yatra api chate. Nobody can even maintain their sharira, their body, without any work. Na prasidhyet akarmanaha. So without doing any karma, you cannot even live. Now in the next verse, 3.9, there's a small hint. So, yagyarthat karmano anyatra. So one must do the activity, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. So yagya. So the word yajna is important because the receiver of everything in a yajna, in a fire yajna, is Vishnu. The fire of the yajna is known as the mouth of Vishnu. And you put nice things in it if you see in that fire. You put ghee or butter and fruits and grains, and you put all nice things into the fire. Basically, you are offering it into the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So even though that is not mentioned here, Srila Prabhupada in the translation is mentioning work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. And the Sanskrit there is Yagyarthat. And it's not just Srila Prabhupada, even other previous acharyas, Sri Baladev Vidya Bhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, have taken the same understanding. So the point is that you must do the activities and dedicate the results to some higher authority, whether it is the devatas, which will come in 3.11, or directly to Lord Vishnu, which is coming here 3.9, Yagyarthat. Then that is the mood that one at a beginner level is supposed to develop. So this is Karma Yoga, that whatever activity you are doing, you are getting some result. Don't think that the whole result I will consume and I'll be happy. Have the mood of giving up some part of the result to a higher authority. So to inculcate that behavior, or that, so that is the thing, to introduce that notion of selflessness, offering the results to a higher authority, is the beginning level of Karma Yoga. And the result is Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Mukta sangha samachar. One goes towards mukta sangha, from one gets liberated from this sangha of the material world. So one makes progress towards liberation through this means. Okay. So that is the other aspect of Karma Yoga, that to develop this sense of selflessness or selfless work. So, and then Lord Krishna explains who are these higher authorities. In a very subtle way, again through Acharya commentaries only, we understand that Lord Vishnu is the enjoyer. Now later on, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna will say the same thing more directly. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam, 5.29, the last verse of 5th chapter, he directly says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. All the yajna and tapas, any tapasya you do, any yajna you do, bhokta, I am the receiver, bhoktaram yajna tapasam, gyatva mam shantim richati, who knows that gyatva mam, who knows that it is me only, 5.29 again. And similarly, in 9th chapter 24, he says more directly, aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Of all yajnas, aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I am the Lord and the receiver of all yajnas that anybody does. So those concepts will come where Lord will establish his supremacy in the later chapters. But through Acharya commentaries, we understand Yagyarthat means Lord Vishnu, but that is not directly coming in the verse of chapter 3. What is coming there is submission to higher authorities, a mood of selflessness, and the exact higher authorities that are mentioned are the devatas. That will come up in 3.10 and 11, which is Lord Krishna's government and governance. All the devatas are part of his government. Those are the higher authorities. Lord Krishna says, give it to them. Don't give it to me. Ultimately, I will only receive it. Like the king is the owner of the treasury, but you pay your taxes to the treasury department. You think you are giving to the treasury. Ultimately, it's going to the king. Okay. Shubina Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I had a question about what are the examples in our daily life that we can give some parts of the results to the higher authority?
Yeah, very good question. And that's coming up in exactly 2 or 3 verses.
Okay.
Okay. And the straight example of that is food. Anything we sustain, anything we use to sustain our living. Food is a very important aspect of that. Now, so many things even before food that we need for our sustenance. What is that? Food may be rice, dal, chapati, whatever. Before that comes basic thing is sunlight. Okay, so therefore offering our prayers to the sun god. In yoga asanas, there is Surya Namaskar. But it's not just about stretching your body in the Surya Namaskar form. That is also sense gratification, because, oh, if I do Surya Namaskar, my body will be good. It's not that. The intention is to pray to the sun god, to thank him, to express gratitude for just being there. There can be no life without the sun, you will agree. Similarly to water, you might have seen people going into the river, taking some water from the river and offering it back to the river. What is so great in it? You're taking water from the river itself and offering it back to the river. So, but the mood is that without water we cannot sustain. So it's a mood of gratitude to the rivers, to the wind. So all these basic things we must at least, now you don't have to go and do it every morning, go into the river and all. But the point is that we must have a sense of gratitude to all these facilities provided by Krishna, provided by God, without which we would not even be alive, let alone thrive. Now, later on in Bhakti, as we make progress, this is at the Karma Yoga level. At Bhakti, Lord Krishna will explain that just by doing Bhakti to me, all the devatas will be satisfied. No need to go do separate Surya Namaskar, separate offering water to the rivers, and so on. Just by simply doing my Bhakti. Because then there are so many, how many, devatas you will go to and express gratitude. Your half day will be gone in just that. So the simple solution is to simply do Krishna Bhakti. All the devatas are satisfied, but that understanding will come later in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the beginner level understanding. Bhagavad Gita is taking us step by step. Please understand, Bhagavad Gita is a basic level textbook for those who are very materialistic, to bring them to that level that at least have this sense of gratitude. Don't just think everything is, I am the center of the universe. Everything has been created because I exist. The sun exists to support me. Water exists to support me. That is a very, stupid and a very foolish and arrogant mentality. But look around yourself. We all live our life like that, as if everybody and everything exists to support me. And that's a very, very arrogant and a very toxic way to live your life. And sooner or later, one will feel the toxins, the toxicity in their own life itself. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us to get out of that mentality. You can lower your hand.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Lord Krishna is explaining that he has created a perfect system of governance in the material world. So text 10, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures set forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy with this sacrifice, yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So everything will be good by following this system. So the essential point is work according to dharma and enjoy prosperity. Where do I have that? Yeah, in the next couple of slides, I have this. I'll show dharma, artha, kama. And Lord's government, which is comprises of all the devatas, will ensure prosperity for everyone. So, which is very similar, of course, to the modern system. There are no devatas in the modern system, but at least there is this concept of cooperation and hard work for achieving peace and prosperity. So if we all work hard in a cooperative, friendly way, then we will all together make progress towards peace and prosperity. We all understand that. Even that is so hard to do, let alone achieving prosperity by working through the Vedic principles. But that is the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. The text 11 says, the demigods being pleased by the sacrifices will also please you. And thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. So the demigods, the devatas, who are responsible for providing the various facilities, will provide them in abundance if you do the yajnas towards them. There will be wonderful sunshine. There will be just the adequate amount of water. No droughts and no floods, just the adequate amount. And everything will be one nice, and prosperity and enjoyment will be there for everyone. So that is 3.11. And who are the devatas? In the 12th verse, the devatas are being described in charge of the various necessities of life. The demigods, who are the devatas, the English translation of devata is demigod, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, will supply all necessities to you. Now here comes the point. But one who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So according to Vedic principles, the Vedas are trying to introduce or encourage this philosophy of selflessness or gratitude. So we must perform those activities with a mood of gratitude and selflessness, not that everything is enjoyer, like a king who is, very just always is just looking for his enjoyment, and it's the duty of all the citizens to serve the king. So that mentality leads to very quick downfall. So devatas are the government of the Lord in the material world to ensure peace and prosperity, and one must offer sacrifices to the devatas. And like I mentioned, offering to God or Krishna directly will come later in chapter 9. And as the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita, that is what we are supposed to do. Otherwise, there are so many devatas who are providing so many facilities, it is not possible for us to go and worship or offer sacrifices in the perfect Vedic way to all the devatas. Is just not possible in today's world. Then 3.13. Very clearly now somebody asked the question, how can we practically do? So Lord Krishna says, this is an important verse. I think it is the one to be memorized also. Yajna shishta ashinaha. We pronounce as Yajna shishta ashina santaha santo. Ashinaha santo. Muchyante sarvakil bishayi. Bhunjate te agham papa. Ye pachantya atma karanat. That the devotees of the Lord, the Santa, the word Santa is being mentioned here. Srila Prabhupada translates as devotees of the Lord. A literal translation will be of a Santa is one who knows the meaning of the Vedas. Okay, so, and he is performing Yajna Shishta and then Ashinaha. After performing Yajna to the Devatas, then he eats. So this verse is directly about food. Muchyante sarva kilbishaihi. He does not incur any sins. So the devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Bhunjate te tva agham papa. Agham papa, very severe papa. They do it who? Ye pachantya atma karanat, who just go and eat for their own self. Don't do any offering back to the devatas. So the point here is to offer. So now you can say how to offer food. So one practical, very practical means is before you eat anything, and of course it has to be sattvic, not meat and liquor, but anything sattvic, before you eat, just offer it to the Lord. Have a picture of the Lord Krishna in your home. When you cook something, take out a small plate and offer it to the Lord. It takes 5 extra minutes, but that is part of your sacrifice. Instead of doing a big fire sacrifice, which will take 5 hours, in Kaliyuga, our acharyas have minimized the system. Just 5 minutes sacrifice, and your sacrifice is not a fire sacrifice, it is a small plate sacrifice. Take out in a small plate, put it in front of the picture of the Lord and Srila Prabhupada, put a small picture of the Guru, whoever your Guru is. If you don't have one, put a picture of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Put a plate in front of him. Say your prayer in your own words, you can say, or you can just say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But mentally think that, or offer it that, my dear Lord, you have given me this food, nice food to eat. Please accept it back as a small offering from my side. Say it in English, Hindi, whatever language you want. In your heart, just offer it, wait for 5 minutes, and then take away the plate and mix it back into the big pot and eat it. Okay? So this 5 minutes of extra time is a nice way of doing sacrifice in the modern Kaliyuga world. So that is something you can do for food. Similarly, for anything new, anything, food is fresh, is new food, freshly cooked. Anything new, you bring new clothes, offer to the Lord, even if it is jeans and t-shirt. Lord Krishna can wear jeans and t-shirt. So offer it to the Lord. You bring a new iPhone, offer it to the Lord. You know, it's your iPhone, it's not mine. Or whatever. So many people do all this car puja, motorcycle puja, house warming. What is all that? You buy a new house, you buy a new vehicle, offer it to the Lord, saying it is yours. Anything that you get, offer to the Lord. Okay. Now, car puja means many people, the consciousness is very important. It's not like, my dear Lord, please protect this car so that I can continue to enjoy it. So you're not offering to the Lord, you are trying to get more from the Lord. Not only I should get the car, I should get the assurance that it will never get damaged. It's all about give. First give me car, then give me protection of the car, then give me good, problem-free, trouble-free running of the car, and everything give. Where is the mood of please take? That should be the mood of car puja. 99% people say after car puja, some people ask me, I have also done car puja. Some people come to the temple and say, Prabhuji, can you do car puja? Chalo, bhai, we'll do car puja. Then someone asked, now my car will work nicely, no? I said, yes, it will work nicely if you use it for Krishna's purpose. Now that you have done car puja, if you don't use it for Krishna's purpose, it will break down. So I threaten them. Anyway, so the whole mood is my car should keep working nicely for my benefit. Everything is give me. So that mentality of car puja is useless. All right. Yes. Nitika.
Yeah,
Or
Pranam Prabhuji. So I have a very basic question. It is being taught to us, like, we offer food to God, and it should be sattvic. So my question is, why it has to be sattvic? Like, why we cannot have onion or garlic in the food? Because in today's world we eat a lot onion and garlic, and we want to move into that part, but just want to know more about it.
Yes. So a couple of answers can be given. So there is direct verse in Manusmriti which says that onion and garlic are not sattvic. So basically we go by the words of the Shastras. On the authority of the Shastra we go. One can ask, why not meat also? Okay. So Why only onion and garlic? Why stop at that? In one's line of questioning, one can ask, why not this? Why not that? So at that level, the first answer is that there is a certain, now one can also ask, so first answer is we do not want to harm any living entity. Take somebody's life and eat it. Okay, at the cost of their suffering, we are enjoying. We don't want to do that. Now, some smart people will say, oh, even plants have life. So when you kill the plant and eat it, why eat it? I'm again not directly answering onion garlic, but I'm going a little bit deeper or extending it. But there is a type of food that is meant for every living entity. For tigers and lions, they cannot eat rice, dal, chapati, or grass. They need to kill a deer or whatever animal to eat. But we are not tiger and lion. So for human body, the consumption is of plant-based food. But in this verse itself, it is mentioned that even consuming plant-based food without offering back to the Lord is agham papa, is also sinful. Okay, so we should not even do that. So only we should offer to the Lord and then consume. Now the question comes, what to offer to the Lord? In 9th chapter, 26th verse, Lord gives 4 things. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. So all the food items that you see, all the plant-based, can easily be categorized into this. Patram, leaf; pushpam, flower; phalam, fruit; toyam, water. Everything is this. Okay, patram, leaf, all your spinach, everything is leaf only. Palak. Pushpam, flower, your gobi ka phool. You eat gobi sabji, it is a flower. So many other flowers are there, I can't recall whatever flowers. Fruits, most of the vegetables are fruits. Phalam, even the wheat is a fruit of the wheat plant, those things, whatever, right? So, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, Lord says, once you offer these things to me, I will accept it. If you offer me with love. Yome bhaktya prayachati. The devotees who offer this with love, I accept it. Now coming to the question of onion garlic in the Manusmriti, not in Bhagavad Gita, but now one can argue that onion and garlic is also a plant, and that is correct. It is a plant, no doubt. It is as much a plant as carrots and potatoes. But in the Manusmriti, there is additional this one given that one should not consume. And that is the highest sattvic level. Now, there are some sampradayas of Krishna Bhakti which do not mandate that one should give up onion garlic. Okay, so please understand this is a very fine point. First thing is to have the consciousness of Krishna and then to give up more severe non-sattvic food items like killing other animals, animal-based things, food and all. At the last level, when one is becoming more and more attracted to Krishna and is becoming serious of going into a specific Vaishnava Sampradaya, then one can follow the teachings of that Sampradaya. So our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya follows very strict teachings and we specify onion garlic. There are other Sampradayas which do not restrict it. And there are verses in Manusmriti which say that onion and garlic is not good for one's mind. And it is true even from scientific standpoint that onion and garlic are like they reduce your alertness. I have seen some studies where Air Force pilots, when they have to do training or they have to go on any mission, they are prohibited from eating onion and garlic 2 days before they have to go on the training or whatever mission, because it reduces the alertness. And as you can imagine, fighter pilots, 1 microsecond of mind getting diverted can create damage, can create great damage. So even there we see that and when we are trying to focus our mind on Krishna, we need a fully alert mind. So onion and garlic are prohibited for all these reasons. But most devotees are not trying to focus their mind so much. There is already too much contamination in the mind. Onion and garlic is only contributing little bit to the distractions. So one worrying about onion, garlic. What about all the other distractions to the mind? He said this, she said this, that, is causing 50% of the distraction. That is true. So those who have become more devoted, more, okay, I want to do this as a tapasya, that I just want to give it up because my acharyas have said so, as a offering to the acharyas. At least this much I can do. I cannot control my mind of all the negative thoughts. At least I can give up onion garlic just because they have said so. So many people do it for those reasons as well, not because they are trying to get the last 0.1% of the controlling the mind factor. That's not the reason. Okay. And ultimately, it is also said that in emergency situations, if you are traveling, if you have nothing else to eat, and better to eat onion garlic based food and do good bhakti rather than to stay hungry and always think about when will I get next meal and not able to think about Krishna. So the higher principle, always, you will read this in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu if you do that course later, that tasmat kenapi upayena manah Krishna niveshayet. Somehow or the other, the highest principle is to think of Krishna. Even if it includes onion garlic eating, eat onion garlic and think about Krishna, if it helps. It's very hard to think of Krishna with an empty stomach. So I hope that was a comprehensive answer to your query.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. So this verse is saying 3.13, don't cheat the system. Perform your duties in the form of performing yajna. But later on, as I said, we will learn just do Krishna Bhakti. It includes all the other forms of yajna. You will see this in 8.28. If you have Bhagavad Gita, you can open 8.28. Lord Krishna says that the results of all other forms of yoga, which includes Karma Yoga, is obtained by doing my bhakti. So simply do my bhakti and you get all the results. Okay. There is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. I think it is quoted in one of the purports by Srila Prabhupada, that when we water the root of the tree, the whole tree flourishes. We don't have to water separately the branches, the leaves, or anything. You just water the root. And the whole tree flourishes. You get the fruits, you get the leaves, you get the flowers, you get everything. Similarly, simply by worshipping Krishna, by doing Krishna Bhakti, all the devatas are satisfied. Lord Krishna is the root of the tree. All the devatas are like the leaves, flowers, and all. So simply by doing Krishna Bhakti, it is equal to doing Bhakti of all the devatas. Okay, so what this verse is saying, that by doing this process, one enjoys, this is again the beginner level. So let's come back to chapter 3. Beginner level, enjoying the facilities by doing Vedic or dharmic activities. So we generally know these 4 steps, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but at the beginner level, the moksha is not included. Dharma, artha, kama. You do your dharmic activity, Vedic activity. Artha means you will get the benefits, whatever, like good crop. I gave that example. Abundant, fulfilled, sweet crop. Kama means to enjoy. Then you enjoy it happily. And then go back to doing your dharma. And the cycle continues of dharmic activity and enjoyment. So in The next verse, 3.14, this is explained in the classic sense of this is the law of karma. If there is one verse in Bhagavad Gita where you have to say, where is the law of karma or the cycle of karma given? It is 3.14. All living bodies subsist on food grains. Now, the example of food is taken commonly in this chapter because that is one of the main things. All wars, everything happen on food ultimately, or on water. Water is also a form of food or whatever sustenance. Now, air, there no war happens because you cannot control air. Water people can control. So there is so many wars that happen on water. If you know, this river, that river, this water, whatever. And then on food, and food means land. You need land to grow food. Ultimately, why people fight for land? It's because it is for growing food and for other enjoyment. Food is a big part of our sustenance. Whenever there is wars and all, the first thing, people will give all their money just to get some food and shelter. Ultimately, what matters is food. One of the things. Okay, so all living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. So prescribed duties, the Vedic prescribed duties are the yajnas. That's the majority of prescribed duty. It's not just an add-on. The first you do the basic activity of tilling the land, sowing the seed, that is 10%. 90% you do yajnas and then you get very good crops. So that whole cycle is given in a very nice verse. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagyah karma samudbhavah. So that whole cycle is given. Okay, and the followers of this dharma are called santa in the previous verse. So this whole concept, this lower level, I told you this is beginner level concept, is Sakama Karma Yoga, as you can understand. Sakama, for the purpose of enjoyment. There is this sense that I want to enjoy, but for that I have to do activities in a dharmic, Vedic manner. But the ultimate purpose is my enjoyment or karma. That is Sakama. Sa means along with or for the purpose of karma. You are doing Karma Yoga because you are offering to the higher authorities. That is Karma Yoga. So this is Sakama Karma Yoga that is being described. And then what is being described is and then next two verses, it is being said that the Vedas are the ones that teach this Sakama Karma Yoga, which is regulated material sense gratification. Regulated in the sense to bring the materialistic and sinful people, at least to bring them to the path of dharma and regulation. Regulation means there is some sacrifice. So like I mentioned, today, what people do, they just eat. Immediately they cook and they eat. Many people I have seen, they start eating even from the cooking pot. If some of those Sanjeev Kapoor videos or I don't know, some cooking videos, as it is cooking, it is shown they are eating and tasting. So they don't even wait to put it in their plates, let alone offer to God. So much degraded the society has become. While it is cooking, you're not supposed to eat at all. So to bring such people, at least to wait till it's cooked, to wait for 5-10 minutes to offer to Bhagwan, for the most materialistic people, even that is considered a big sacrifice. Just see how much our acharyas have to come down to lower the standards. That itself is sacrifice. Okay, so to bring, that is the purpose of the Vedas or the teachings, the Vedic teachings. And that is what is being said in 15 and 16. I'm not going to read the translation in interest of time. Okay. And last line of the 16th verse is very sweet. Not sweet, but very hard-hitting. Yeah, far from sweet actually. It is bitter. Bitter truth. Agha ayuhu indriya aramo mogham partha sa jivati. Agha ayu means whole life of sinful activities. Agham papa, if you see, agha ayu, indriya aramo, apna mauj masti, indriya aram. Indriya aram means for the sense gratification. Indriya aram. Simply for sense gratification, one who is living this such a sinful life, mogham partha sajivati, one has wasted his life. Such life is a complete waste, one who has lived in that way. Okay. So very hard hitting. So one should at least, this is a message for the materialistic people. They should start coming at least to the level of gratitude and sacrifice for the Lord. Then comes the next higher level. And this is covered in 3 verses, 17, 18, 19. And this, so previous one was what? Sakama Karma Yoga. Now comes Nishkama Karma Yoga. So this is the higher level. So remember, the Karma Yoga is divided into 2. Sakama was described so far. Okay. Nishkama is coming now. That one remains self-satisfied, atma triptaha. And for such a person, no need to perform any duty. No need. The focus is on the need. It's not about one should not perform duty. That's not what is written. There is no need, which means you can still perform the duty, but not because there is a need. In the Sakama Karma Yoga, you must perform your duty. You have to, but in a Vedic way. Then you can enjoy the results. In Nishkama Karma Yoga, there is no need. There is no mandatory aspect. And the 19th verse is very important. So 17th verse says, I'll just read the translation of 17, 18. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satisfied, for him there is no duty, or for him there is no duty that he must perform. That's how to understand it. Next. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work. That means he can perform or he may not perform. Nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. He is completely self-sufficient. 19th verse says, Tasmad asakta satatam, not asakta. Asakta. Asakta is the opposite of asakta. Asakta means detached. Completely detached. Satatam karyam karma samachara. Do your duty. Whatever need to be done, do it. Asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. So in this way, asakto, in a detached way, whatever acharan karma, whatever karma you do, param apnoti, leads to the highest attainment. So here in this level, the moksha is being introduced. So what is being said here? This is another, very classic verse that talks about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Perform your duty, karyam karma samachara, but asakta, in a very detached way. Param apnoti purushaha, such action leads to the param apnoti, the highest attainment of the highest attainment, param apnoti, which is moksha. So again, this is talking about dharma, artha, no kama. Don't enjoy. Artha will be there, the results will be there, but you don't enjoy the results, no kama, and then you will go towards moksha. So dharma, artha, moksha. Any questions? So this is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. So quick review. Karma Yoga. So oh, यही था, दे दो मैम, दो. So beginner level and advanced level has been explained. I'm eating some long. What's long? Clove. Clove. Helps with the coughing. Anyway, so beginner level is Sakama, and we understand that the results, we are not the, even though we are partly responsible for the cause of the results, we are not the entire cause. The Lord plays a major role, or his government plays a major role in causing the results. So we perform some sacrifice and send with a sense of selflessness and gratitude. But there is an element that some portion is mine. At the advanced level is Nishkama Karma Yoga, which we studied in the last 3 verses. And there is no need to perform any action. So performing action and not performing action are one and the same. Whether you perform, don't perform, no problem. Performing action as a matter of duty, zero attachment to any results. Nothing is mine. So there is no karma, and it leads to moksha. So this is the first path, major path of Bhagavad Gita. When I say path number 1 in the entire Bhagavad Gita, 4 paths have been described. The first path is Karma Yoga, which is chapter 3. Next one, major path will be Jnana Yoga, which will be chapter 4. Third one will be Dhyana Yoga, which will be chapter 6. And the fourth one is Bhakti Yoga, which is from chapter 7 onwards till the end. Because Bhakti Yoga is the highest and the best, and that is the only recommendation, not even the main recommendation, but the only recommendation of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, it occupies the bulk of Bhagavad Gita, is Bhakti Yoga. But for the sake of completeness, Lord Krishna is covering this, all these other yoga systems, and plus all these yoga systems, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, can be converted a little bit or can be shifted and made it suitable or converted to bhakti. Just like I said, instead of offering to the devatas, you offer it to Krishna, the food. That becomes an act of bhakti. It is no longer karma yoga. Then it is directly an act of bhakti according to 9.26. Yome bhaktya prayachati. So 9th chapter is fully about bhakti yoga, and there also Lord Krishna is saying that those who offer me patram pushpam phalam toyam, added with love, then I accept it. That is an act of bhakti. So that is why it is being explained, all these karma yoga, jnana yoga, so that we can use it in bhakti. And another reason is for the sake of completeness. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedas, entirety of Vedas. And since the Vedas talk about all these processes, all these paths, Bhagavad Gita is also covering them. All right, next 6 verses, 20 to 25 is talking about the fact that we saw there are 2 levels, beginner and advanced, right? It is the duty of the advanced people to set an example for the beginners, because ultimately people follow examples. So the first example that is given of is of Janaka, who is Janak, the father of Janaki. Who is Janaki? Mother Sita. So Janaka, karmana eva hi samsiddhim asthita Janaka adayah. Janaka and etc. Other kings like Janak. So not only Janak, Janak adayah. And they basically, what is said here is that samsiddhim asthita, that they attained siddhi, they attained perfection by following this path of Karma Yoga. But they are already siddha people. He is the father of the supreme goddess, Mother Sita. What purpose he has to perform Karma Yoga? The purpose is loka sangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Loka pashyan or sampashyan, sorry, for others to see. So basically to set an example. Okay. Next verse. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tat evetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. Praman. To give praman or to give a evidence or set an example that by doing this one attains success. So the advanced people, yad yad acharati shreshthas. Shreshtha is being used for the advanced people. Tad tad evetaro eva itaro janah. Jana is the beginners. So for the purpose of setting an example for the beginners, the advanced people should follow the path of Karma Yoga. Pramanam, to give them the pramana. Because lokas tad anuvartate. People follow examples. So for that purpose. In 22, Lord Krishna says that even I perform activities to set an example. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything or I have a need to obtain anything. So Lord Krishna is saying, even I, who is the Supreme Lord, he has no need to perform Karma Yoga. Yet I do it. Yet I perform my karma. Now, very important point here. Is Lord Krishna a good example of following Karma Yoga? Of doing the prescribed duties perfectly? Is he? Now, some people will say he steals butter, he runs after girls, married girls, he tells lies, he does all kind of things. Now, that is because you and I know of these pastimes of Vrindavan. All these activities that Krishna did are only in Vrindavan, not outside. And these are the most confidential activities of Lord Krishna. They are very sweet dealings between Krishna and his topmost devotees, the Ragatmika Bhaktas. So, these activities are not supposed to be known. Now, they have been popularized in the last whatever few years. They are not supposed to be, they were not well known. Therefore, in Mahabharata, also describes in great detail the life of Lord Krishna or many details of his life. The whole Bhagavad Gita is in Mahabharata. It does not contain any mention of his activities in Vraja, in Vrindavan. And everything that Lord Krishna has done in Mahabharata is perfectly dharmic. Even if he says all those things that he did, like killing of Karna when he was fixing his chariot, or killing of Bhishma They are all dharmic activities. Mahabharata has very good explanations of why Krishna did those activities or asked Arjuna or Yudhishthir or Bhima to hit Duryodhan, for example, below the belt. We say, no, this was a below the belt, which means it is an illegal punch. But that is what Krishna asked Bhima to do, hit him below the belt, in his jangha, in his thighs. And that is where, that is when Duryodhan died. That is very perfect reason, dharmic reason for Krishna to do that. And all that has been explained in Mahabharata. So Lord Krishna has set a very perfect example through his activities. That is what is mentioned in 23rd verse. For if I ever failed to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Another point is, if I fail to do my duty, then people will quickly follow my path. What it means is that materialistic people are very quick in picking up bad examples. They are very slow to learn from good examples. That is just the nature of materialistic people, and that is because of the long conditioning in materialistic consciousness. Whatever is that, to a saint, you have, it will be very hard to become materialistic. It is just the amount of conditioning that has occurred. It's not that, oh, you are unfortunate that you are materialistic. No, it is because we have spent so many lifetimes being materialistic that very quickly now our consciousness is materialistic, and we are very quick in picking up materialistic examples. Look, my father used to say he used to smoke. That was the one bad habit he had. And then he used to give example of Winston Churchill. See, Prime Minister of England, he used to smoke continuously cigar. So it's okay if I am smoking. I used to think, what a stupid example. On the cigarette packet itself, it says cigarette smoking is injurious to health. The manufacturer who is interested in getting your money himself is saying, and you are giving this example of Winston Churchill. So that is the case. He was a very pious man, very dharmic. He was not materialistic at all. And I attribute a large part of my upbringing to him. But that was one bad quality he had. I'm just giving his example instead of giving somebody else's example. That how we are, we pick up bad examples much more quickly than we pick up good examples. Therefore, it is the duty of the advanced people to do activities, to set an example for others. So even for devotees, one should set a good example. Even though it may mean at times pretending. Like, for example, if somebody is feeling a lot of anger and wants to shout at some other devotee, okay, don't do that. First of all, it's not good, but at least don't be a jerk in public. At least, all right? So setting a good example is very important. Otherwise, not even in public, even in private. Private means at least to the other person. Some people will show their duplicity in private. At least that one other person is seeing, Are, you're such a devotee from 20 years and you are demonstrating this behavior. So there is some, if not the loss of faith on the process, the loss of faith on that devotee, maybe his guru also. Are, your guru must have not taught you properly. And that is not good. That when you are being a devotee, you need to represent the teachings of Krishna. You need to represent your sampradaya. You need to represent your parampara. And you need to represent your guru. So that is the responsibility that one is carrying. So one should, for the sake of setting example, have a very, very good behavior, a devotional behavior. Okay. So that is the content till 25. Okay. It's 8:33. I don't think we can finish the chapter. So I think I will stop here and let's see if there are any questions. Yes, Pradeep ji.
Thank you. One. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. I had one question regarding the Karma Yoga. So whenever like we do our activities as a part of our regular job as a software developer and everything, but later whenever we contribute to something and that company helps some war or helps in some warfares and everything, so we are doing our activity and performing the activity to the company, but that company is doing something bad for other countries or something like that. So whether I'm doing it right or whether we should be know the consequences and then perform the activity.
So you're I thought you were saying there's some echo. Do you have two devices on?
Yeah, now we turn off the one.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, so you are saying that if you are working for a company or whatever, and that company is doing some nefarious activity, I thought you were trying to say if that company is doing some relief activity like for floods or tsunami, earthquake, or war relief. Not that.
Not
You
that.
are saying if you are working for a company, let us say you are working for, I don't know, some defense manufacturer, Lockheed Martin, and it is supplying all the weapons or whatever, and it is supporting the killing of people. Do I get the karma? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes. So that is true. You do. Taking it in a different way, if you are working, let us say, for a butcher who is killing animals, you are not maybe killing, but you are the accountant, you are managing the finance, whatever, doing his thing, but he's a butcher. So yes, it is not good for your spiritual progress. It is not good for your consciousness. Some part of it is transferred to your consciousness as well. So that is true. And then it depends on the magnitude and how far removed you are from that activity, that nefarious activity, to what you are doing. If you are the CEO and you are directly making the decisions to do certain things, then you are more closely related or you get more consequences. If you are very far removed, you are doing some engineer who is doing some job, or maybe you don't even know that what is going on. So this is very complex as to what is the magnitude, but yes, there is definitely non-zero effect. And this is very true. I mean, just a very simple example. It is said that the consciousness of the person who cooks the food is transmitted through the food that you eat. Similarly, if they are earning money in that way, the company, and that is coming through your salary to you in your pocket, it is going to affect. And maybe they are earning money in a nefarious way. Now, I am no judge, but let us say this company is selling weapons to only one side, not to the other side. Or I don't know who is right, who is wrong. Maybe they are selling it to the right side. Maybe they are helping in that sense. Maybe the other side is right. In a war, both sides will claim they are right. Even Osama bin Laden had perfect reasons to blow up the towers. If you ask him, he will convince you that it was right from his standpoint. So even Hiranyakashipu has all the reasons. But we don't know who is right, who is wrong in this case, who's to be the judge. Best is to stay disconnected with such operation, with such a situation. But again, one point is there is so much else. This is like the onion garlic situation. We are worrying, oh, I am a software engineer, and 10 levels above me, somebody is making decisions which are wrong according to dharma, according to Vedic principles. That is affecting me. But on a day-to-day basis, I am going around behaving like a jerk. I am causing Vaishnava aparadh. I am personally doing so much more to damage my consciousness. And then I'm worrying about this 1.1% effect. Arey Baba, first take care of the 50%, then worry about 50.1%. That remaining 0.1%. So that also has to be there. Some people are very hung up. Oh, I will only eat food that is, cooked by only by devotee. Devotee means what? In his mind, he may be thinking about all bad things. Just because he's wearing dhoti kurta doesn't make anybody a devotee. Better to eat food from a person who has led a sinless life, but is not a external devotee. That will contribute more to one's consciousness than to just say, oh, I will only eat in the temple. Who knows what is the consciousness of the so-called devotees cooking in the temple? Maybe he's thinking of paying me enough money. I didn't get enough stipend. Most temples to the pujari. All the time they are thinking when my green card will come, when I will get more stipend. Oh, that pujari didn't do morning service. He asked me to do it. I did it 2 days in a row. He did it only one day. I did it 2 days. All this keeps going on. So I hope you get the point that one should prioritize the higher principles more. Okay. There's a very nice now. All this has an effect. However, all this does have an effect. It is not just some Vedic statement. There is a scientific research or something happened. There was one person who liked a particular type of chocolate. Okay. In his consciousness, he had that strong craving for a particular type of chocolate. He donated his kidney, that person, to some other person who had no liking for any chocolate. All right. And he got his kidney, the other person's kidney. After the transplant was done, immediately this person felt, I want to eat that kind of chocolate. And that remained for almost 1 month, and then it died. That craving. And the doctors say this happens whenever we do kidney transplant. If that person's like chocolate, the receiver begins to have the same desires. If that person likes to go on vacation to one place, this person, so which means the organ is carrying the consciousness. It's a very direct transfer of consciousness. Through the food cooked by the hand is much lower. Here you are getting direct organ transplant, and the doctor said that whenever we do kidney transplant, because he was a kidney transplant doctor, he said the consciousness of the person comes into this person. If he likes to watch particular kind of movies, suddenly he wants to watch whatever action movies or horror movies. It stays for about 3 weeks, 1 month, and it goes away. See, this is scientific research, which means the consciousness is transferred. The kidney otherwise medically has nothing to do with this. There should be no reason medically that one should get the same kind of desires, but you do. Why it happens? Medical science has no answer. So you can see it has an effect, but this is a very direct case. You are getting the organ, but all these other things, food cooked by the hands, or whatever karma that is coming through the salary also has a minute effect. Try to stay away, but most importantly, work on the main aspects which is directly contributing. Your own consciousness, your own bhakti, that will have so much higher effect that even if there is little effect through these means, it will not be a big impediment. That is the bottom line learning. Don't get hung up on these things, and on the other end, you are sitting inside a sewer and trying to clean your finger. Your whole body is dipped into septic tank, and you're trying to keep your little finger clean. It is foolish.
Thank
Okay?
you. Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Sorry to go over. We will conclude the discussion. Thank you, Shyamlila Mataji, for patiently co-hosting. And we will see you all next week. We will not have class. No class next week. We will resume the week after. So there's 1 week gap. For Bhakti Shastri students, please keep up on the homework, and we will do homework discussions and other things. Please keep an eye on the messages. All right. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Jagat Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Shivaji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.